Y'all remember Splitgate, right? The fast-paced, Halo-inspired arena shooter that took the gaming world by storm and then just vanished? Well, now there's a sequel on the horizon. And while Splitgate 1 soared to the top of player charts with its unique gameplay, it slowly faded into nothingness. And so I'm wondering, can Splitgate 2 rise from the ashes and become the game that players want? Well, today we're diving deep into the shocking rise, the inevitable fall, and the future of Splitgate, as we uncover the truth behind its past and speculate on the potential success of the next addition to the Splitgate franchise. It's pretty obvious looking back now that Splitgate's success and its failure were tied heavily to Halo Infinite's release. While many cited bugs, too many bots, or the lack of updates as their reasons for leaving the game, looking at the numbers, it's clear that Splitgate's player counts were heavily correlated with the release of Halo's largest and most anticipated title. Take a look for yourself. Splitgate originally released in April 24, 2019, reaching a peak of 4,000 players before quickly dropping to under 300 by the end of the year. But of course this wasn't the end for Splitgate. If it was, we wouldn't be talking about it right now. In 2021, as the hype for Halo Infinite was building, Splitgate dropped a massive summer update that skyrocketed the game to the top of the charts, peaking at over 67,000 players on PC and attracting hundreds of thousands on console. For those of you who haven't played Splitgate, the shortest way I can describe it is take classic Halo multiplayer, but add portals. It even has game modes pulled straight from Halo, like Fiesta and Team SWAT. It's free and still a ton of fun. Now back to the video. Speaking about the peak of Splitgate, I remember this time fondly. I really loved the game. Halo combined with portals is just a brilliant concept, and it plays just as well as you'd expect. From fast-paced party games like Oddball, a personal favorite of mine, to competitive modes like the 3v3 deathmatches. Splitgate's peak was a blast. Me and my friends would play it routinely, and those were some of the best gaming sessions I've had. It filled the void that many players like myself had felt for years. A great Halo-like arena shooter that we'd been missing. I hadn't enjoyed a game in this style since Halo Reach, and Splitgate delivered exactly what I'd forgotten I used to love. It felt like the classic Halo multiplayer, but reimagined in a modern and unique way, unlike the incomplete experience that Halo 5 had delivered. And ironically, this specific feeling that Splitgate captured so well would be its own undoing, as just a month after its peak player count, the beta for Halo Infinite's multiplayer released in August of 2021. And well, looking at the charts, you can just see how quickly the player base of Splitgate declined after the beta for Halo Infinite. It goes to show just how connected these two fan bases were, and how much overlap there was between fans of Halo and players of Splitgate. With the full release of Infinite coming just a couple months later, Splitgate's player count dwindled to only a few thousand. And from there, the game continued to slowly fade away. A year later, in 2022, the developers announced that they would be ending support for the game, shifting their focus to the next edition in the Splitgate universe. Well, that brings us to today. A sequel for Splitgate has been announced and is planned for release next year. While its predecessor struggled to maintain long-term staying power, I initially had high hopes for Splitgate 2. Not only did I notice the significant amount of hype around this game, its announcement trailer alone currently has over 5 million views, but we're also in the middle of a drought for this type of arena shooter. While the market is currently flooded with hero shooters, both available and upcoming, the classic arena shooter style can currently only be found in Halo Infinite, a now 3-year-old game with a steadily shrinking player base. So with Splitgate 2 poised to break into this seemingly empty market, how could they mess this up? It should be an easy layup, right? Just build off the first game, keep the core gameplay the same, focus on the Halo nostalgia plus Portal vibe, and voila, perfect game, huh? Well, with the alpha for Splitgate 2 releasing for a short window last month, many, including myself, got a chance to try the game out. And while I did enjoy hopping back into Splitgate for the first time in forever, it just felt, well, off. Where I went in expecting the same fast-paced Portal Mania shooter feel, I was instead met with something that felt and looked much more generic, a word I'd never thought I'd use to describe Splitgate. But here we are. It's clear that 1047, the developers of Splitgate, have made substantial changes. Gone is the simplistic homage to Halo's arena shooter vibe, instead there are now abilities for each character. Yes, the same hero abilities that many new FPS games have adopted are now also in Splitgate, with some being ripped directly from other titles. Like the ability to allow your whole team to see enemies through walls, there also appears to be a shift in map design, away from Splitgate 1's open-air, portal-focused designs to more close-quarter combat, generic shooter maps. These changes have left me, and many others, feeling conflicted. The original Splitgate thrived on its simplicity. It was a pure, fast-paced arena shooter with the added twist of portals. It was that simple. It turned the game into a chaotic yet skillful experience of teleportation and gunplay. This was the magic formula that drew players in, giving the game a unique identity amidst a sea of modern shooters. This is what Splitgate was. But with Splitgate 2, the focus seems to have shifted away from that signature blend of classic arena shooter mechanics and chaotic portal action. Instead, the game seems to be moving towards a more generic hero shooter style, where faction abilities and objective-based game modes take center stage, as we've seen with almost every new FPS. It's as though the developers are trying to chase trends rather than lean into what made Splitgate special in the first place. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Splitgate 2 is still at least a year away, so many things can change. All of this feedback I'm giving comes from an alpha, so clearly a lot of changes will be made. I mean, 1047 has already made a statement about the many changes they've already made to the game based on the feedback from the alpha, including their intention to make more portal-focused maps, which is a good sign. I really hope that 1047 continues to listen to player feedback and returns their focus to what made the original Splitgate so great and why people like myself think of it so fondly. Splitgate 2 has a lot of potential. 1047 has a unique opportunity to revitalize the arena shooter genre, but they'll need to be careful not to lose what made the original so special. The portal mechanic needs to remain a central focus, and the game must carve out its own identity rather than chasing trends. If they can pull that off, Splitgate 2 could very well succeed where its predecessors stumbled. With the genre wide open to new arrivals, they have no one in their way but themselves. Of course I want this game to succeed and do great numbers, as I love it when smaller development teams break into the FPS space with fresh, new ideas. I just hope that Splitgate sticks to and builds upon what it does best, instead of looking outwardly at what current games are trying to accomplish. So what do you think? Are you interested in Splitgate's newest game? Did you enjoy the original? When's the last time you hopped on, and how'd it go? Leave a comment. I love hearing what y'all think. If you enjoyed this video, consider checking out my most recent one on Halo Wars 2, a game that has quite literally stood the test of time. If you've made it this far, consider subscribing. A very small percentage of those who watch my videos are subscribed, and we're talking very small, I'm talking about 0.6% small. And for a small creator like myself, every single subscriber really means a lot to me and pushes me to continue making content. As always, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.